All right, good morning to you. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for watching us here at TMJ4 News Today. I'm Adriana Mendez here with meteorologist Marissa Walzen. Marissa, it's going to be a busy morning for you this morning. Not a lot of snow, but it's the timing of the snow that's a concern.
Yes, we're already looking at the snow arriving for some of our northern counties. It's working its way to the southeast, and it will impact potentially the morning commute, so keep that in mind. Let's take a look at what we have going on.
Makes this very concerning because of not only how quickly it can spread, but how much damage it can cause. You can see crews are trying to get water in there as quickly as possible, but these flames are really eating away at this house. From what I can tell, it's really contained to that second floor. But in terms of victims or anyone who may be inside, I haven't really seen anything like that. I can't confirm anything. I know that our desk is working to figure that out. There is paramedics here, so if that is the case, we will find out hopefully sooner rather than later. But from what I can tell, the fire is still contained to this one house. You can see that the flames are now moving backwards. They're kind of contained into that space right here, which is toward the back of this house. But
well, Milwaukee police are investigating two shootings this morning. The first happened just before 10 near 13th and Melvina last night. A 33-year-old man was injured in that shooting, but is expected to survive. And a 13-year-old was injured in a separate shooting near 96 in Brown Deer, but is also expected to be okay. Police are looking for suspects in both shootings. If you have any information, call MPD. Well, more questions and answers this morning for families forced from their homes over toxic chemical concerns. The community within the corridor apartments at 32nd and Center were evacuated on Saturday. And on Tuesday, residents got to ask state and local health officials what's next for them. The media was not allowed inside that meeting, but our Sarah McGrew has more from residents who were at that closed-door discussion.
12-year-old Mikkel Bishop Vance was excited to move into community within the corridor with his family back in December.
It just sounded like really nice.
But this past weekend, his home suddenly didn't feel so nice.
When we were evacuated, I was actually in the middle of cooking breakfast. So it was just like, oh.
Residents were forced to leave because of elevated levels of trichloroethylene, or TCE, a cancer-causing chemical. Mikkel's mom, Krista Bishop, called the situation shocking.
My main concern is where's all my neighbors gonna go? Where's me and my kids gonna go?
She wants to know why people were even able to move in.
It's a lot of people there that has children. If this is something that is so toxic, why would y'all risk putting families' health at danger for money?
The apartment sits on a former Briggs & Stratton industrial site. In a press conference on Tuesday, the Department of Natural Resources says they were aware of the contamination and recommended no one live there until mitigation measures were proven effective.
The DNR has not had to work with this kind of situation previously, in that our recommendations are typically implemented by the party responsible for the contamination.
The DNR says they just found out people were living there last week. On the flip side, the agency responsible for approving occupancy, the Department of Neighborhood Services, says it was not aware of any hazard.
The department was asked to approve temporary occupancy certificates back in July of last year. At that time, the department was unaware of any of the ongoing investigation or levels of any potential hazards within the building.
It's unclear why the two departments weren't in communication with each other and why the developers of the community within the corridor went against the DNR's recommendations. But one thing is for sure, it has uprooted dozens of families' lives.
With them putting us way on the south side, a lot of people doesn't have transportation. My kids' school is on the north side. We're closer to where we live. So it's been very, very hectic.
Do you feel safe going back?
No. I don't feel safe at all, especially with my health conditions, my one-year-old health conditions.
Well, West Allis Bar has been forced to temporarily close its doors and upgrade security over a February shooting that ended with a 12-year-old boy dead. Buggin' Out Lounge owner Amy Thompson is expected to have her tavern license suspended for 90 days, preventing her from being able to operate her lounge until late July. Now, this comes after 12-year-old Ronell Smith was shot and killed after attending a birthday party at the lounge. The West Allis Police Department filed a complaint against the owner, requesting that her tavern license either be suspended or revoked. During the city's public safety meeting on Tuesday night, an agreement was made, but before the committee signed off, they added two other stipulations: that an employee must be present at all times when events are held on the second floor, and no alcohol will be allowed to be served upstairs.
If there are any problems in the future,
make no mistake, the committee will take swift action.
Now, the Common Council will take a full vote on the agreement at their next meeting, which is set for Tuesday, April 18th. A 12-year-old boy charged with killing a 34-year-old Milwaukee man. Investigators used a pizza order to track him down. 34-year-old Brandon Felton was shot to death on March 17th inside his home near 38th and Townsend. During a search of the scene, police found a receipt for a pizza. They then called the person who ordered it, and the boy answered. The boy's mother eventually told police her son said he and his friends went to Felton's house to buy guns. They allegedly then shot him when he wouldn't sell to them. Well, a new surveillance video shows two teenagers fall from a ceiling after allegedly robbing a Qdoba in Glendale. It happened on March 14th. Police say the suspects came crashing down as they tried to get away. They were eventually arrested after bursting through drywall to get into a vacant store next door. Well, local technology experts believe Microsoft's proposed development in southeast Wisconsin comes with many benefits. Microsoft wants to buy 315 acres of Foxconn's land and build a $1 billion data center. Community leaders did not reveal how many jobs it could bring. Outside experts say data centers don't typically house a large number of day-to-day jobs since a lot of it is automated, but there are still some benefits.
Whether it's construction related, whether it's the also the kind of businesses that can sometimes sprout up near data centers, those can add jobs that are not really related to the data center itself, but other sort of services and pieces that are good for the local economy.
And Mount Pleasant's Village Board is expected to bring up the agreement this Thursday. Well, Milwaukee County officials will meet today at 10:30 this morning to hold a press conference over MCTS' new fare collection system that will go into effect this Saturday. The meeting is expected to cover the new fare structure, fare capping, ways to pay, and an announcement about the future of regional mobility. The new system will impact 40 routes and 3,800 bus stops across Milwaukee County and beyond. And Arlene Rojas Castillo will have a live report of this story and break it all down and what you can expect on those changes coming up starting at 5 a.m. Well, the time is now 4:38, and up next on TMJ4 News today is National Vietnam Veterans Day. And people across the country will honor and remember the hardships and sacrifices made by 9 million Americans during the Vietnam War. And our Shannon Sims sat down with a local Vietnam vet as he shared his memories about coming home from the war and an upcoming event to honor local veterans for their service. To Milwaukee County, we're not seeing any crashes or delays across the interstate system, but what we are seeing are some areas of reduced visibility, primarily to the north in Sheboygan County. But once again, as Marissa mentioned, that snow is starting to move on into Milwaukee County. So let's take you live outside. This is Waukesha County. This is right at the Gorky's Corner area. You can see those snow flurries flowing about there, so the snow is on its way. But even though it's a light dusting of snow that you might see out on the roadways, that still can cause some really slick conditions. So you're going to want to give yourself some extra time and reduce your speeds as you're heading out and about this morning. The rest of the roadways look good, as I mentioned, in terms of crashes or delays. That's none of that this morning. So here's a quick look at your drive times. It looks like everything is coming in the green. Franklin to the 894 bypass. I know it's in the yellow at 8 minutes, but that's a typical drive. I try to drive through that every day. So that's a typical 8-minute drive in that area. Simone and Tom, over to you.
All right. Thanks, Adriana. It is now 6:35
and onto Project Drive Safer, our year-long commitment to combat reckless driving. Every Wednesday, I bring you a traffic safety tip of the week, and this week we're talking about pedestrian safety.
Remember, you're also a pedestrian. The minute you get out of your car, you're also that. We've seen numerous people who have gotten really seriously hurt who are just trying to get in and out of their cars. So this is all of us.
In the Yankee Hill area, there is the hustle and bustle of the city, from the hop to drivers to people walking around throughout the day. But as warmer temperatures are on the way, that means more people will be out in this busy downtown area, and drivers need to be aware.
Pedestrians have the right of way to cross at crosswalks, so that means that when you're driving, you need to yield. So that can mean slowing down, give them time to stop. It might mean stopping altogether.
Mary Beth McGinnis with Milwaukee Walk says drivers should also understand what a crosswalk is.
It doesn't have to have paint. It doesn't have to have a signal. It basically is where two roads or two sidewalks intersect.
And over at the Franklin Police Department, Officer Gary Wallace says always make sure you stop well ahead of the crosswalk.
That's going to give the pedestrians a chance to see around your vehicle and visibility of any other cars that are coming.
He says drivers who have a green light might be tempted to stop at a crosswalk to wave a pedestrian on, but it actually creates a hazardous scenario.
Unfortunately, that can create a dangerous situation, because even though you stopped and you're trying to be nice to let the pedestrians cross the street, the other cars that may be traveling in either direction, they're not going to do that, and that's when a pedestrian could be struck.
So once again, let's break down the driver's responsibilities. A driver must yield the right of way to the pedestrian crossing within the marked or unmarked crosswalk. It does not matter if the driver has a stop sign at the intersection or if there is no stop sign, you must yield. When turning, you must yield to both pedestrians crossing the street you are on and those crossing the street you are turning onto. And for pedestrians, you still need to look both ways and do not enter the street if a vehicle is so close that it's difficult for the driver to stop.
Always be cautious, always look both ways for traffic, and make sure that it's safe to cross. Even if you have a green light or a walk signal, make sure you look for traffic.
Yeah, and Officer Wallace is just really nice. So if you have any questions about state laws, you can always contact him with the Franklin Police Department. And this topic was brought to us by a viewer. So if you have a topic you want us to cover, let us know at projectdrivesafer.com.